Hello, thank you for tuning into this section of readings. This is on YouTube channel James13 Wicca. I am currently doing in-person readings in Herkimer, New York. If you're near there and you want more details, shoot me an email, I'll tell you about it. Um, I'm going to put the information like the decks and stuff like that below. Other than that, if you want a reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below. And let's go ahead and get into your reading. Hello, Pisces. Thank you very much for tuning into this week's read. These readings are valid for whenever you come to them. That being said, what do we have for Pisces? Somebody wants to tell you something. Okay, how far are we going? So, somebody wants to tell you something. I get that. Okay. So, this energy's been around you before, is what I'm getting. 6 of Wands. It's coming in. This isn't the 6 of Wands, but you do have it out here later. It's coming in like this, kind of like, is it a success? I'm questioning it. And then the Devil card, but it's reversed, which is telling me we're trying to not get involved in things that we don't feel like we need to. It's kind of like, I'm not going to cross that line if I don't really think I need to. And I'm not even sure if it's a bad thing or a good thing, but I feel like I'm very kind of like, not sure, kind of reluctant to be too close to something. There's energy that's trying to come towards you. And information is coming your way. I feel like I'm communicating with somebody unexpectedly. The tower is above this, but I don't feel like this is a bad... I don't feel like it's a bad tower. I feel like it's just kind of like I wasn't expecting that. I know the tower is a really rough image to think of, but it's kind of like it's shocking me. It's not always physical. Sometimes it's just metaphorical in the sense of like I totally... Maybe it's an uncomfortable moment, the way this information happens. Could be that. But it's not like devastating me. It's kind of like I was totally not expecting this moment to happen the way it currently is. And there's good energy there. Something's getting a chance to move forward. But I get like... I'm not really sure. I feel like I'm kind of like unsure if this is a good idea or not. And I feel like I'm pausing on it. I do feel like I'm pausing. I feel like we got to be careful not to pause too long. I feel like if we can keep communication going, you can extend your pause if you really want that, but be careful with it. But you got to keep communication going. So if somebody kind of gets your attention and you're maybe at the grocery store or something, just for argument's sake, find a way where you can stay in contact. Like, oh, like this is my Instagram handle, or blah, 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 or something like that where you can keep in communication if you want it to pause for a second, because otherwise this situation might come and go so fast that your head will spin. My head will spin. Your head will spin. Your head will spin. 6 of Swords. Yeah, it could pass real quick if we're not careful. The Hanged Man comes in like this as well. This doesn't have to get stuck. The situation does not have to get stuck. But if communication comes out of the blue and you end up talking to somebody you weren't expecting to, or something comes your way, make sure that you have a way to keep communicating later, but it's not going to last that long. It feels like a very short window. Like, if somebody needs an answer from you or something like that, I feel like if you give them like, oh, I got a lot going on today, but I could talk to you tomorrow at this time, or something like that, I feel like you could hold it off if you want to think about it a little bit without them realizing that that's why you're doing it, because you want to think about it a little bit. Kind of like, oh, a lot going on today, but tomorrow at this time I could talk to you if you wanted this or you wanted that. You can get yourself a little window. It's not going to be a big window is what I keep getting. Some of you might be able to finagle it, or, get it going, squeak it in a little differently, get a little bit longer, but most of you won't is what I'm getting. And I understand that this energy's been around you before, so I don't know what to say about that. It's a general read, though. Now I'm thinking about it. Because I'm trying to define it more, but they're like, this is a general read. It's a general read. There's a lot of people. So you're not going to get the details. Ace of Pentacles with the Seven of Cups is like, I'm trying to make sure that this makes sense. I'm trying to get an idea of what this is made of and where it's actually going and what it's actually telling me. I don't know that right off the bat I'm going to get that information. I feel like I want it. Maybe even I think that I should be able to get it, but I don't think this is going to happen because I feel like what I think it's made of and what it's actually made of isn't really there. This is one of those things where I have to discover it over time, and the truth will come out in its own. I keep getting something amateur. There's something like I keep wanting to say tempo, but there's something andameter. Pendameter? I don't think that's a word. Something, I don't know, I'm not getting it. If it comes around later, I'll come back to it. Pentameter. Pentameter, that's not a word, is it? I don't think that's a word. I don't know what word I'm trying to spit out, but there's something there. You're dependent on somebody else's tempo. That's what I'm getting. And timing. Tempo and timing. They're going to bring forth more information when they're comfortable. Going forward, if you're able to keep this going, if you keep this energy moving forward, at least like, you can hold it off for a minute, but not too long. I get that the situation's going to naturally give you clues about what else is here. That's good. That part's good. We like that part. But I get that there's a weird kind of like jumping ahead. You gotta be careful not to jump the gun here. Because things are going to seem like, oh, okay, that's what this means, that's what that means. Be careful of that. Be very careful of that, because I get that there's turns. It's like not going exactly. Like certain things are going to be misinterpreted. Be careful with that. I just keep getting that there's misinterpretation here. Something with misinterpretation. Because they're warning, you might think something makes sense and this is going to go where this is going to go. This is what it is, and that's how it is. But I get like it's too early in the situation to have that information. There's something missing. There's misinterpretation that's afoot. They're giving you an idea here. If you keep the situation going, it's not like we have to solve everything in one conversation, but like one conversation, if we put some work into one conversation, it'll create another conversation. We put some work into that, it'll create another conversation. It doesn't mean we're like building we're not building Rome in a day, as they say, but we might be like, deciding where things are going to go, what type of things, what type of materials, what type of buildings, how long is it going to take. We might be talking about little pieces here and there. And I feel like whatever you think this situation is telling you, keep that in the back of your mind, but slowly and surely put out little information and try to like get little pieces of the puzzle and see if does it verify that. Like if you think somebody lives or like they grew up 500 miles away in a specific town, say you think that, keep asking little things, keep getting little information. You might find out, well, maybe when they were 14, they moved to that town and their family, their family lived there until they were 20, 21, but maybe nobody lives there anymore and they didn't really grow. That's not where they grew up. That's not where their majority of their life was, but it might be from a certain thing. Like there might be details and it may make a difference for whatever reason. They're saying you want to dig a little deeper, find out what's going on there. Because I get like we're slowly getting through this block, because I get that there might be a block that's created through misinformation that you don't realize that's what's going on here. You heard something, it didn't hit the way it was necessary. It's like they said something like, oh yeah, I graduated from this town or whatever, from that school, and it's like a little bit of misinformation thinking that's where they grew up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm taking it the wrong way and I need to find more details. That's an analogy, because I keep saying that and I'm thinking, what does it matter? Why do we care? But the point is, it's the analogy. Like something here is misinterpreted and this could lead to other misinterpretations. We got to kind of like keep talking about it and like, so what's the name of the elementary school there? Oh, I don't know. Oh, I thought you grew up there. Well, that's where I was from 14 on, but before that, we lived over in this other country, blah, 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 blah. There's a lot here that can be misinterpreted. Where are we going with that? Because I keep getting like, there's something with this make a decision that I have to be careful with. Make a decision. Make a decision that this situation has a lot of twists and turns. Okay. Make a decision to not lock into something or not believe you know what's going on, even though it looks like it makes sense. Be careful and keep deciding, keep looking deeper. Keep finding out more about this situation, or if it's a person. There's more to unearth here. It says make a decision. So I keep looking at like I'm balancing out how I feel versus what I think. I'm more of an intuitive reader. I think that's what my problem is. I got to walk away from the title of the card and like make sure you're balancing what you feel and what you think, and keep checking back and forth. What I'm feeling, does that make sense? What I think, do I feel like I like that? Back and forth, back and forth. So it says make a decision, but I keep feeling like there's a balance thing with here. With that picture, and I'm more of an intuitive reader, I feel like what they're saying is make that personal decision to keep balanced in this situation and move slowly. Keep balanced in this situation and move slowly. I feel like I just feel like I got the clue, just finally like snapped in, and it's like, oh, of course. Oh, yeah. Once in a great while, we all have our days. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's what we want to do. I get it. Don't jump ahead too quickly. There's a lot of information that will come to you in its own time. While the way forward is open, I'm going to also say this. It's kind of like maybe you have a clear road from here, 500 miles forward. But, there's a difference between walking it, riding a bike, driving in a car, taking a plane, whatever you got. How you take this trip, even though the way forward is open, they're saying this is one of those things you actually want to walk. Even though it's 500 miles, doesn't mean you have to walk the whole 500 miles in one day. But if you keep walking the path, you're going to absorb and see and learn a lot more and be able to do a lot more with it than if you take a plane. You're going to miss it. You're just going to be at your destination. And the point of this is the trip, not the destination. Well, and the destination. Not just the destination, but the trip there makes that destination that much more rich. Keep that in mind. This period of time won't last a long time, whatever it is. So I feel like for some of you, it depends what it is. Some of you, it could be a person. Maybe it's a romantic interest. Others, it might be finding business opportunities or something along that route, or finding a house, or looking for something specific. It's kind of like an opportunity coming your way you're gonna learn more the slower you go. Well, not the slower you go, but like taking the walking path versus like flying there, even if it's 500 miles. I just feel like by taking the path in a more relaxed rate and kind of realizing that I got to stay balanced, what I think and how I feel, I got to keep balancing those, make that decision to go slowly, you have to make the decision to do that if that's going to happen. It's just funny. It's cracking me up that it's like it took me that long to get to what that was. Like, no. And then we had to keep going at it until I finally got it. Apparently I'm just having one of those days. If you go the slower route, if you make that decision to keep balancing it out as you go, I get that like you're going to be very, very happy with what you get. You're going to be very happy with the depth that you know the situation and what you can do with it based on what you've learned. If I'm going to give another analogy, it's kind of like spending 4 years learning how to write a great novel versus just kind of like reading novels and then just deciding, oh, I want to write one after 4 years. If you learn how to write a great one, what type of things great writers use and why they rewrite this part and how they make this character more interesting and how they make this scene more impactful and all this other stuff and how they create the scene and how they do that for the person reading it. All that information is going to make it that much more enjoyable and that much more effective in the long run. If you just kind of like, oh yeah, I do want to write one. I've read all these other books. I bet you I could do it. And you just kind of wing it. You're going to be surprised at, how much you could actually leave out or not be able to interpret or not be able to give. But if you put in all that work in that 4 years and you learn how to do all those things, you could have so much more of a richer, better outcome. You might write a great story either way, but it's kind of like I don't know if I want to give it a name. So it's kind of like having somebody putting that story out there and like 500 to 1,000 people going, this is a great story, but saying it was a little difficult to read versus like 5 million or 10 million going, this was awesome and I loved every moment of it, and it just taking off and taking you to great new heights. It won't take that long. I know I gave the four-year analogy, but it won't take that long. There is the choice to do that. Is this either or? If you go the fast route, I do get you'll still get the success. It's just going to be more of a challenge when you get there to deal with it. Because it's kind of like, again, if you wait 4 years and then you're just like, I'm just going to write the book, you're still going to have to struggle to try to do the best you can with it. I just feel like it's still going to be a struggle. If you do it the other way, though, I feel like judgment is in your favor, and it's easier to embrace where you were going anyway. I just feel like it's so much different. It's kind of like already getting there and knowing what you need to do versus showing up without knowing a thing and having to just build it as you go. It seems like it's a lot harder. It's kind of like showing up to an art class with nothing versus showing up to an art class not only with all the supplies you're going to need, but having the basics down of like how you do this and how you do that, and then somebody teaching you techniques once you're there, if that makes sense. Kind of like, yeah, I got all the paints and everything I needed and all the correct things that people told me to get, and I know how to do the swatches, and I know how colors blend, but I don't know how to do all these techniques. It's kind of like getting there already ahead of the schedule, ahead of what's needed, and then somebody just teaching you the techniques to make what you want to make versus just showing up with nothing going, I want to paint, I have great ideas, I just have no clue on what I'm doing, and I don't have any supplies yet. That's the difference, if that makes sense. So going slower, ironically, I feel like, and I'm a Pisces myself, I say it at some point or another, going slower makes this much more comfortable. And I feel like I enjoy it a lot more, especially if I've already had that in the back of my head, like I'm going to take the slow road and I've already committed to it. I feel like I enjoy it a lot more, and it's not really that difficult. It's just kind of like enjoying it as it goes. If I wait till the very last minute, though, I feel like there's a lot of stress. I still get some success, maybe not this same level, but the stress, it's like doing it all at once, there's a lot of stress. So hopefully this made sense the way I gave it to you. Because I get like whatever this is, the truth is coming out in its own time. It seems like something else is in its own timing, and the truth will come out in its own time. And you're meant to have success here. I do feel like for those of you this hits with, by taking the slower road and making that self-commitment, I feel like it's a better success and a more enjoyable success. Success either way, I give you that, but it's like more enjoyable and more. It's richer. It's just got more to it. It's richer. Anything else? All right, I'm going to shut this down here. I hope that helps. Thank you very much for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below. Same email. Thanks again for watching. Have a great day.